Tonight on the French kitchen, it is cassoulet. So cassoulet is a very typical dish from the southwest of France. So we are continuing our discovery of the southwest. There are probably as many versions as there are towns in the southwest. There are three main ones from three different cities: Carcassonne, Toulouse, and Castelnaudary. Basically, a cassoulet is a stew with white kidney beans and meat. Pretty much all of them have onions, but then everything else is different in the different recipes. So they use different beans, they use different type of meat. Some do include carrots and tomatoes, sausages, and so on. So as many differences as you can imagine. So today, in this version from the French kitchen, we are going to use some Great Northern white kidney beans, so which I did put in cold water last night. I think there is another one that would work, which I believe is called cannellini white beans. Then we are going to use some duck leg confit. It's actually pretty expensive here, pretty hard to find as well. So these ones, we brought them back from France. You can find them online. I saw them available on the same place where I did find the garlic sausage. So that's the website where we order on a regular basis things like white boar, guinea hen, rabbits, veal, and so on. So we're going to use garlic sausage, some homemade sausages, some broth. We have some carrots, so I used about 5 small carrots. Depending on the size, it might be just a couple of them if they're bigger. 3 tomatoes cut in pieces. I've got 1 onion. I'm going to use some tomato paste. So the garlic sausage, as I said before. I've got two small bowls with garlic cloves, so 3 garlic cloves. So some of them we'll use in the recipe to cook with. These ones we are going to use to scrub the clay bowl, so just to give it some taste. We have the duck leg confit. We are going to use some bacon. We are going to use some pork. So I took a picnic roast, so I cut some pieces. I debone it as well, and we're going to use the bone when we cook the beans. Breadcrumbs. So I said before, the Great Northern white beans. We have some thyme and laurel, and a clay bowl that we are going to use for cooking the cassoulet for multiple hours in the oven. So we're going to start actually on the cooktop. We are gonna on a very low heat put the duck legs just to get some of the fat out, and then we'll use that fat to start cooking the meat and then the vegetables. So if you buy some duck leg confit, don't get rid of the fat. It's actually really good. You can use it for cooking potatoes or turnips. Gives a really good taste to it. So yeah, my advice: keep it and use it. So let's get started on the cooktop side with preparing the different ingredients. So we get started on the cooktop. Light it up on low heat, and we are gonna bring the duck leg confit. And cook them, not really cook them, just put them on low heat to get some of the fat. There we go. Okay, so we're just gonna let the fat melt. Another option with the duck leg confit, something I did a few years ago, and I believe I did that with goose legs, is to make them yourselves. It's not as tasty and as good as the duck, but the result was still pretty good. We may try that in a different recipe later on. So I think that's good at this point. So we are gonna just take them out. And you have to be very careful because it's pretty delicate. And the last one. So we're gonna keep it aside for now. And you can see all the fat that was rendered. So now we're gonna cook our sausages. So starting with these ones. So we made these sausages probably a couple of months ago ourselves, and so we're probably gonna do that again, processing some pork in a few months, and probably do a video on that as well, making sausages, pâtés, and cured meats, this kind of stuff. It's gonna be good for the sausages. And now we're gonna do the same with the meat. With the pork. So there's about a small pound of pork. And we're gonna put just a little bit of salt and pepper. And on the other side. And I'm just gonna take it off now. And we're gonna start with the veggies, starting with the onions. So I'm gonna add the garlic. So what I did is just using the side of the blade, I just crush them. And we add the carrots. For the carrots, I cut them. It's a mix of slices and small sticks. So we'll let it cook for a couple of minutes. So we're gonna add our thyme and laurel. Now we're gonna add the tomatoes. And some tomato paste. About a generous teaspoon. And we are gonna add a little bit of broth. And we'll let it cook for 10 minutes before we add the beans. And we're gonna put it on the medium-low for 10 minutes. So back in 10. So it's been 10 minutes and it smells really good in here. So we're gonna now add the beans. So I took out the water and add the beans to cook them. We're also gonna add the bone coming from the picnic roast, and we're gonna add some broth so to make sure that the beans are fully covered, and we'll let them cook for 1 hour. And so we'll let it cook on a small boil for 1 hour, and then we'll start preparing the clay ball and build the cassoulet in it. So we'll be back in 1 hour when this is cooked. So it's been 1 hour that the beans have been cooking. We are gonna adjust a little bit the salt and pepper. And we're gonna start building the cassoulet in the oven, the clay ball. So first thing, we are gonna take out the bone. We are going to filter, so we get the carrots, the onions, the beans, and we'll keep the juice aside, and we'll start mounting the cassoulet in the clay bowl. So we now have all our ingredients ready to prepare the cassoulet. So we have our duck leg confit, we have our sausages, we have our pork meat. I did cut the garlic sausage. We have the beans, and we have the broth, so the juice left. So we separate it from the beans, and so we have our bacon, breadcrumbs, and the garlic. Right. So we are gonna start, and also I want to show you. So I saved the fat, and we'll keep that in the fridge for cooking potatoes, turnips, and so on later. So let's get started, and we'll grab the bowl and we'll start loading everything into it. So we are gonna start by scrubbing the bowl with the garlic. So making sure that we hit all sides, the bottom. Okay. And as you do that, you can leave the garlic inside. Gonna do the other side. I think that's gonna be good. Okay, so next we're gonna use the beacon to cover the bottom of the bowl. We're gonna put some slices on the bottom. Making sure it's properly covered. Okay. So that's what it's looking like. Now we are gonna add some of the beans to create a first layer. Then we're gonna add some of the meat, so the duck. The pork. So any of the left fat, we're gonna put that in here as well. So we're gonna add the garlic sausage, which I sliced. And finally, we're gonna add the rest of the beans to cover up. And we're gonna finish with the sausages. On top. We're gonna partially add them into the beans as much as we can with the room left. We are now going to add back the roll. So the should cover up, just cover up the beans. So in that case, we are just a little short So I'm gonna make some more. So we make sure that the beans are covered. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna add it back, and then we will add the breadcrumbs and put it in the oven. So back in a couple of minutes with the additional broth. So I prepared some additional broth. I'm gonna add to make sure that my beans are well covered. Like this. And so now we're gonna add the breadcrumbs on top. So that's gonna create a like a crust. And so we're gonna cook the cassoulet in the oven for several hours. And the tradition says that we need to break the crust 7 times while it's in the cooking in the oven. So we're gonna do that. First, we're gonna get the oven started. So for this recipe, we are gonna set the oven at 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we'll start when the oven is ready. We'll add the cassoulet in it. So the oven is ready. So we're gonna put the cassoulet in it. And so we are gonna check it in about let's say 20-25 minutes and see if there is a crust that we need to break. So it's been 45 minutes now. So we're gonna take a look at our cassoulet. It's good, and just pressing on it. So we'll keep it cooking. So I ended up keeping the cassoulet for 6 hours in the oven as the beans were taking time to cook. So now it's ready, and we are gonna be able to serve and enjoy it. And here is our cassoulet served with the pork, sausage, garlic sausage, the duck, and the beans. Bon appétit!